Well, we've got some questions in our inbox for you, Pat. This is from Larry, who says, Pat, I want to go into business. What books would you recommend I read, other than the Bible, of course?
Oh, my. I think those professors that wrote some books on, you know, the excellent companies, I think they might be very, very helpful. What are the names of? I forget right now. They were bestsellers.
I'm not sure which ones you're talking about, but I know there are lots of corporate giants who've also written books about...
Yeah, but these were the ones that had to do about, you know, the excellent, in search of excellence. That was one of them, I think, in search of excellence. And I think those books would be important to do. I might also say that the Chamber of Commerce of the United States has got books on business foundation about the laws involved in setting up a business. And I wrote a book called Right on the Money. If you want to recommend a book, I wrote one that gives you all the steps of starting a business. It's all in there. It's called Right on the Money, and the author was Pat Robertson.
Yeah. So get a hold of some of those.
I guess you can get it from Amazon.
I know that guy. He's valid.
Yeah, okay.
This is Ellen, who says, I've been on Xanax for years, and I want to stop, but I am struggling. I keep praying, but I get nothing. What can I do?
I'm a great believer in vitamins and minerals. And I think various types of tranquilizers and sedatives and that sort of thing are in place of health. And I think if you would begin to exercise, go to the gym, but just get a good pair of shoes and walk vigorously in the morning or at night. Take a half an hour and just walk around your neighborhood, wherever you live. And then begin to take important vitamins and minerals. You know, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin D. You know.
Well, the walking is more than just it's a good thing to exercise. It actually causes our brain to produce some of the needed chemicals to balance out some of those emotions.
You know, I heard one fellow who wanted to kill himself. He wanted to die. He just hated his life. And so he thought what he'd do is run so hard he'd have a heart attack and he'd drop dead. So he just ran like crazy, but he didn't kill himself. And so the next day he tried it again. He ran like crazy, and he ran and he ran. And the next day he ran and he ran and ran. And the next day he ran. And by the end of the week, he felt so good he didn't want to kill himself anymore.
Well, there's, you know, a lot of people who exercise a lot actually get kind of hooked on those endorphins.
Well, exactly. The endorphins come in and give you a feeling of pleasure, which is natural. It's not some artificial thing. So there is no withdrawal symptom. All right.
Okay, this is Larry, who says, my 14-year-old son just told me he was involved in pornography. We prayed about it, and he asked God for forgiveness. He wants to stop because he knows it's wrong. Any advice on how to deal with this?
Well, I think you're already dealing with it, but I can't tell you. I don't think anybody understands the tremendous impact that porn has on a 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 13 or 14-year-old. I mean, it stays in their consciousness. And what you need to do is to get that young fella reading as hard as he can. Give him a whole bunch of books to read. Let him read the Bible. Let him read the Psalms. But get him some fiction that is based on wholesome values, and let his mind get on something else.
Yeah, you really also need to, I think, in families today, have a handle on your television set and your computer, because kids are just sitting ducks for some of the stuff that's on there.
What's on the porn, I mean, it's pretty, computers, I mean, the television is not as gross, but what's on the computer is, I mean, the porn industry is huge, and so many of these cable companies and other companies make their big profit on porn.
Exactly.
And so, yes, what Terry says is exactly right. You've got to, you know, not go back to the same trough, but just realize what an impact this is, and you need to have him fill his mind with exciting things that come from wholesome activities. Take him hunting, take him fishing, take him walking, go on a trip. I mean, do everything you can to get his mind off this stuff. All right.
Yeah, this is Fred, who says, why didn't God just kill Satan when Satan decided he wanted to be God?
You know, that's a good question.
It's a very good question.
And here is the answer. God, at any time, could say, I've had it with these rebels, I've had it with Satan, and I'm going to blast him. But guess what? Then that would send terror throughout the rest of the universe, and it would say God is a tyrant who insists on having his way by force. And God said, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to show to the principalities and powers, to the angels, rebellion, and the good angels, that love is the conquering factor in the universe. And I'm going to show by surrendering myself and paying the price for the sin of mankind, the sin of this universe, I will redeem the universe by having my son die on the cross. The death of Jesus on the cross was more profound than we realized. It had, consequences throughout the universe. And when Jesus died, he said, it is finished. He hooked Satan. Satan was, from that moment on, his doom was sealed. And one day they're going to take Satan, they're going to tie him up, put him in a bottomless pit for, fire and brimstone. But God wanted to establish love first, and love is triumphant. I'm here as a testimony that his love won me. He didn't scare me into the kingdom. He won me into the kingdom.
Amen.
All right.
Amen. Well, that's all the time we've got for your questions, but we do welcome them on this program on a regular basis.